One of my favorite things to do is see how Islam edits small details in the Bible to make it fit their narrative. So, for instance, Abraham in the Bible, he has two sons, Ishmael and Isaac. And in Islam, they claim that Abraham built the Kaaba with Ishmael. Okay, so what's the big deal about that? The big deal is that the Kaaba is in Mecca and Abraham lived in the Canaan areas. So that is around 1,500 kilometers from one another. And in the Bible, Ishmael was sent to live in Egypt with Hagar, his mother. And so the Bible continues to focus on the story of Isaac, through whom God fulfills his everlasting covenant and promise. But in Islam, what happened was that Abraham took Ishmael and Hagar, and Ishmael was still a little kid, like a baby, and he took them to the valley of Mecca, and that was 1,500 kilometers away from Canaan. So on foot, they went all of that distance, and then Abraham left both there, and he came back to Canaan another 1,500, basically 2,000 kilometers on foot. And then after a few years, Abraham goes back to Mecca, another basically 2,000 kilometers walk, and they build the Kaaba, Ishmael and Abraham, and then Abraham leaves them there again and walks back 2,000 kilometers to Canaan. And then the stories continue with Isaac, Jacob, and Israel. That is insane. That never happened. Why would he do that? That makes no sense. Also, the pagan Arabs already used to worship around the Kaaba, and then Muhammad came, expelled everybody out of there, and he said that they would worship the God of Abraham, and then he said that Abraham was the one who built this Kaaba. He was just continuing a pagan practice, but saying that it was monotheistic. And what is more interesting is that before Muhammad, before the 7th century, there was not even an oral tradition talking about this. No one in Arabia, no one was like, oh, there was a man who built this Kaaba with his son, oh, Abraham and Ishmael. No, there wasn't even an oral tradition. Muhammad introduced that idea because he needed Abraham. He needed to link this very well respected and well known character in Judaism and Christianity. He needed to link him to his new religion so that he would have more credibility with his new religion. That is different from the Torah because before the Torah was actually written down, Genesis, the oral tradition of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the 12 tribes and everything, that already circulated. But with the Kaaba, Muhammad just